Essendon Base. This is Mike Quebec Killer.
Mike Quebec Kilo, this is Essendon Base. Go ahead.
Essendon Base, Mike Quebec Kilo, Airborne Essendon. Our ETA Mildura will be 1535.
Mike Quebec Kilo, Essendon Base. Copied.
The joy of flying aeroplanes, but having the purpose, a meaningful purpose, of helping sick and injured people throughout Australia. I never tire of it. Some of the more memorable occasions happen early in your career. I do remember being on call in Broken Hill. The report came through that there had been a guy on a farm west of Broken Hill, just over the border, South Australian border, and he was mustering sheep and had a motorbike accident. He was quite stoic until he heard the flying doctor plane, and then he started to cry. And I remember just standing there hearing the guys say this and not knowing that our flight path was directly overhead where this gentleman was laying in the paddock. And I always had an appreciation of how big Australia was. But it was when I heard them say that about how he heard the flying doctor plane pass over the top and started to cry because he knew that help was close at hand now. I then realised how isolated people can become. My involvement with the Royal Flying Doctor Service Victorian section is quite different to what I'm used to at the other sections, whether it be Dubbo, Broken Hill, even over in Broome, where we're quite often involved in emergency flights. The work that we're doing in Victoria, a non-emergency patient transfer service, these are people that still require some level of care, but don't need an emergency service such as the Victorian Air Ambulance. And so when you're talking about transporting people to places like Mildura, that's a 60-minute flight, 1 hour flight compared to over a 6-hour drive. So if you've got someone either coming to the major centre for treatment, or we've got someone going home from having received that treatment, 6-hour drive is quite a lot, particularly for a sick person. So the non-emergency service that we provide as part of the Victorian section here based in Essendon is one where we're able to transport people safely. It's just as important as it is the emergency service of getting the people to the care as getting the people home from the care. One of the questions that I get asked a lot, working for an organisation that's been running for over 90 years now, is how relevant is the flying doctor this day and age? And my answer is Australia hasn't got any smaller. From when John Flynn first had this vision of providing a mantle of safety over Australia. Yes, technology has changed, communication has improved, the aircraft that we're now using are some of the most sophisticated available, but still Australia is a big place. And whilst Victoria is not as large as the Northern Territory or Western Australia, the communities still deserve the best level of care that can be provided. And that's one of the mottos of the Royal Flying Doctor Service, is whilst creating this mantle of safety across the whole of Australia, it's taking the finest care to the furthest corner. And the furthest corner could be simply Mildura.